The city council in Carthage, Missouri has passed a mask ordinance, but it's run into a veto by the mayor. Details are coming up.
As drivers hit the road for Thanksgiving, we look at how travel is different this year than in previous years.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A majority of Carthage City Council members approved a mask ordinance, but it will not go into effect. This is KOAM News at 10. KOAM's Mike Mahoney was at the council meeting and has details.
It may not have been a packed house due to COVID-19 restrictions, but it was still hard to find a seat inside the Wednesday special city council meeting in Carthage, Missouri. That's because the council members gathered to debate and then vote on a proposed Carthage mask mandate, but not before hearing varying opinions from residents and business owners.
It's a freedom issue, and if you choose to wear a mask, that is awesome. I applaud that. But if you don't choose to wear a mask, we shouldn't be punished for that.
Without the council implementing a mask mandate, you willingly jeopardize human life. Make no mistake, there's no greater threat to our community than COVID-19. More masks save more lives, and they save more businesses.
We are all adults. We can make decisions. We don't need government entities enforcing upon us to wear a mask or not.
I'm here to encourage you to support a mask mandate, to support the local economy, to protect your citizens, and also because it's temporary. Right? Major employers right now, like my employer, we are struggling with erratic staffing from quarantine due to community spread.
Mask mandates have a lot of passionate proponents and detractors, but every speaker and council member who addressed the proposed Carthage ordinance was civil while presenting arguments. The ordinance ultimately passed by a vote of 6-4, but was then vetoed by the mayor.
I think it's an overstep. I don't feel like the city needs to be the ones who are mandating that the mask be worn. We've requested it. It's up to the businesses to make their own laws. For their own rules for their own business.
The mayor's veto can be overturned, but that would require 7 votes from the 10-person Carthage City Council to do so. In Carthage, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Before passing the ordinance, which was ultimately vetoed, city council members voted to remove a section that would have allowed the city to suspend or revoke the business licenses of non-compliant businesses. Checking in with Doug Heddy now for a first look at the weather from his home. Hi, Doug.
Hey, Dallin. It turned out to be kind of a gloomy day for us today. Temperatures, they really didn't go anywhere. We actually had a midnight high of 55, but all day long we sat into lower 40s across the region with the clouds and the morning showers. But you can't see the clouds are working out now. However, right behind it, the fog is working in. So the fog's actually going to be pretty thick tonight. So if you are going to be on the roadways, watch out for the very thick fog lasting into tomorrow morning. Temperatures hovering just a bit above freezing, about 32, 33, 34 degrees, and will hold fairly steady from this point on. The fog lasting until about 8, maybe even 9 a.m., and then we'll see the fog burn off. It looks like a fantastic day, a high temp right around 64. We do have some rain chances in the forecast. We're going to look at that here in just a little bit.
All right, we'll see you then. Thanks, Doug. As the 4-staters hit the road for Thanksgiving, local officials are working to keep that travel safe. KDOT officials say in addition to your regular travel items, you should take hand sanitizer. Officials with the Kansas and Missouri Highway Patrol say they've noticed more inattentive drivers, some ultimately crossing lanes and causing crashes. However, Kansas officials say they do not expect a significant increase in traffic.
I don't expect there to be as many traveling this holiday. I've talked with some other people and they're telling me that they're probably just going to do things closer to home this time due to the COVID-19.
We spoke with officials from KDOT and MoDOT about rest stops and welcome centers and what they'll be doing to make sure they're ready for the travelers. Both states say they have crews working to keep the facilities clean and stocked for drivers. Nationwide, around 5 million people have already passed through airport checkpoints, and TSA is expecting today is going to be one of its busiest days since March. The CDC urges those who do travel to wear a mask when they're around people they don't live with, particularly indoors, and recommends when possible to separate the Thanksgiving eating from the Thanksgiving socializing. Coronavirus cases are surging all across the Midwest. One hospital in Topeka, Kansas has had to turn a waiting area into hospital rooms for those without COVID because the ER is full. Doctors say it's only going to get worse.
So the situation will be much worse. We're going to have patients with no beds. We're going to have patients who are very sick at home because they can't come to the hospital. And we're not talking about imagination. We're talking about right now. This is what's happening on the ground.
As the pandemic rages, the head of Operation Warp Speed tells CBS News the first wave of vaccinations could begin as early as next month for those at high risk. As for the general population, he says the whole of the country should be covered by December of next year. St. Louis doctor's video simulating what it's like to be a coronavirus patient in his ICU has gone viral. The past 10 days, he's been working around the clock as the St. Louis area broke records for COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths. Dr. Ken Remy recorded the video Saturday and posted it on his social media accounts to encourage people to wear masks in public. More than 5,000 people viewed that video in the first 24 hours.
I hope that the last moments of your life don't look like this.
What I'm doing is simulating what it would be like to, frankly, breathe exceedingly fast, to have your oxygen levels go exceedingly low. And then the last moments that a lot of folks, unfortunately, are seeing at the end of their lives are, us administering some medicines to make you sleepy and me putting a breathing tube in you. That's what it looks like.
This is what you'll see at the end of your life if we don't start wearing masks when we're out in public, when we don't practice social distancing.
I love saving lives. I love taking care of people, and I don't have another way to save your life if you become hospitalized outside of just supportive care than, frankly, hoping that you never land in a hospital and not receiving the disease in the first place.
I beg you, please practice the precautions to reduce transmission of COVID disease so that we can effectively prevent disease for you and your loved ones.
Dr. Remy says while he understands the importance of personal liberties, he's tired of his patients becoming infected because they don't wear masks. Still ahead, winter sports in Kansas will start on schedule, but without fans to begin with. We're going to hear how some local teams feel about that change. And later, President Trump pardons his former national security advisor. We'll have reaction. The Kansas high school winter sports season will begin as scheduled after a vote from the Kansas State High School Activities Association Board of Directors on Tuesday. Sports reporter Andy Ciateco talks with people from 2 local programs moving forward with their seasons.
With winter sports practices already underway, coaches and teams across the state of Kansas breathed a sigh of relief Tuesday.
It did make me a little uneasy that they were going back after the season started and we'd already been practicing for a week and saying, all right, now we're going to decide whether or not you guys are actually going to be competing in December.
Once they released that we were getting to play, it was just like it was a breath of fresh air.
Keisha voted 53-22 to allow the winter sports season, including basketball and wrestling, to begin on December 1st.
It's an important deal to get kids motivated, to get them training hard, and to make sure that they're staying focused on what we're really here to do.
One major change this season is the game atmosphere will be different at the start. The board voted not to allow fans at events until after January 28th.
I heard over and over and over again on the meeting, we're tired of trying to enforce masks on spectators. We're tired of trying to keep them 6 feet apart. And so to me, it kind of fell back on the parents and the spectators of, well, they put it in your hands, and maybe you guys didn't follow through all the way. And I'm not saying that just about our community. I'm just saying that as a whole, as a state, that it was obvious that not everybody was following the recommended guidelines.
The student athletes say with or without fans in the stands, they are still competing.
Everybody's parents wants them to be there, see their kids, but it's also good for the coaches because you can hear them and do better on what you need to.
Even if we had to play in an old gym, like whatever we had to do, any way we could play, we'd want to play.
While they will have the chance to play, teams are taking steps to make sure they also have a chance to finish.
No kid gets to walk through that door without getting their temperature checked. They don't get to walk through that door without a mask. They got to keep it on until we actually physically start wrestling.
Spreading them out, we're switching groups, all that stuff, and they've handled it like champs. They know what's on the line.
We're just trying to be extremely careful because we don't want to be the one that takes it away for the rest of our team.
In Southeast Kansas, Andy Ciateco, KOAM Sports.
The board also voted to have a break in competition that stretches from December 23rd to January 7th. Games can resume on January 8th. Doug Hetty is up next with his complete forecast, and a little bit later on KOAM News at 10, how YouTube could be affecting your child's eating habits.
Toy box.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a gloomy day for us today. Temperatures really sat into the 40s all day long. We actually had a midnight high of 55, but then we tumbled and we had the morning shower, so it started off a little bit wet and then just kind of cloudy and gloomy throughout the afternoon, which you can see on our Indigo Sky Casino tower cam for you, which is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. And it looks like, as we work through the rest of the evening hours or into the overnight hours, our main concern is going to be fog across the region for us tonight. All right, rain stats, we had 3/100ths of an inch of rain this morning. For the month, we're at 3.5 inches, and we're going to dry out just a bit for at least a couple days until rain chances back in by the time we head into Saturday night and Sunday. Thanksgiving looks great, a little bit cooler for the weekend. Those rain chances on Sunday. You can always get my month-long forecast on my month-long blog. That's at KOAMnewsnow.com. We haven't done the winter forecast yet. We usually do it about the week before Thanksgiving, just with scheduling. It's been kind of all over the place, so we'll get it done sometime next week. It's actually a very interesting pattern. I'm kind of looking forward to winter, which that means most people shouldn't be looking forward to winter, but we'll talk more about that sometime next week. Look at our temps for us over the past 36 hours. 50s yesterday, and then very steady 40s for us today. Now we're in the 30s. We've dropped back to about 32 or 33, 34 degrees across the region. We're going to really hold steady from this point on. We're looking at our tower cam from the station. It's 33. Our dew point's at 32. That top number can't drop below that bottom number. When they are the same, you have 100% relative humidity. You can see we're at 96%. So this means fog. Fog building in across southeastern Kansas, southwestern parts of Missouri. Visibilities are dropping, so if you are going to be out tonight or into tomorrow morning, watch out for the fog across the region. Even though the clouds are working out, that fog is building in, so it's going to hang tough until 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. Storm system from yesterday rolling off toward the east, out to the west. Here's our weather for tomorrow, and then across the northern parts of the Rockies, we have 2 storm systems that will affect us Friday with cooler temperatures and then rain chances by Sunday. Tonight's okay, but look at the fog across the region. Now watch as we go through the morning hours, burns off, then it looks pretty good, all the way up into the 60s tomorrow afternoon. Here's your day planner, 34 to start, 59 by noon. High temp is 64. The winds aren't going to be too strong if you want to do Thanksgiving with family outside so everybody can social distance. It's actually a perfect day to do it. Now watch the front. Here it comes tomorrow night. Clouds start to thicken. May see a few little sprinkles with it, but what this means for Fridays, we're going to be about 10 degrees cooler than what we are going to see tomorrow. But still, in general, it looks pretty good over the next few days. Saturday night into Sunday, this storm system mainly stays to our south, but I do think it will give us some rain chances. And then we turn much colder early next week. Then we have another storm system on Thursday and Friday that could give us even a little bit of snow. So we're going to keep our eyes on that as well. 64 tomorrow, 55 Friday, 54 Saturday. Those rain chances and turning colder for next week.
It's nice that the Thanksgiving weather is likely to be the best weather of the week.
Yeah, pretty good deal.
You bet. Perfect. Thanks, Doug. Four States Ronald McDonald House Charity's 19th annual Gift of Light, Gift of Love Christmas tree lighting celebration was virtual this year. You can also see the 17-foot Christmas tree on the front lawn of the Ronald McDonald House. It's at 34th and Jackson in Joplin. Still ahead, the chair of the U.S. House Intelligence Committee reacts to the president's pardon of his former national security advisor, Michael Flynn, and details of what California authorities are calling the largest fraud scheme in state history. Oklahoma and 5 other states will participate in pilot projects to better coordinate investigative efforts surrounding cases of missing or murdered indigenous peoples. The Department of Justice project created protocols for all investigative agencies to work together and with victims' families when American Indian or Alaska Native jurisdictional boundaries are crossed. Similar projects are planned in Alaska, Michigan, Minnesota, Montana, and Oregon. President Trump has granted a reprieve to his first national security advisor, Michael Flynn. This evening, the White House issued a statement saying the president pardoned General Flynn because he should never have been prosecuted. Skylar Henry reports from Washington.
President Trump has officially granted a full pardon to his former national security advisor, Michael Flynn, saying in a tweet, "I know you will now have a truly fantastic Thanksgiving."
I think he's a hero, the general.
Back in 2017, the retired Army general pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI as part of special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election. Despite that, the Justice Department, led by Attorney General William Barr, moved to drop its own case, suggesting Flynn was entrapped into lying when interviewed by agents.
He was targeted by the Obama administration, and he was targeted in order to try and take down a president.
Earlier this year, Flynn requested to withdraw his guilty plea. As his legal saga played out in federal court, President Trump hinted at granting him a full pardon.
He's going to be okay. He's going to be just fine.
The Flynn pardon comes just months after the president commuted the sentence of his friend and former advisor Roger Stone. He was due to serve a 40-month sentence after his conviction on 7 felony counts, including witness tampering and lying to Congress.
I think Roger Stone was very unfairly treated, as were many people.
Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff, the House Intelligence Committee chairman, released a statement denouncing this latest pardon, writing, quote, "Trump has once again abused the pardon power to reward Michael Flynn, who chose loyalty to Trump over loyalty to his country." Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
In a statement tonight, Michael Flynn's family thanked President Trump for answering their prayers and undoing what they called a hideous wrong. Economists are urging Congress to send out a new round of coronavirus relief checks. In an open letter, experts called them an essential tool in preventing an increase in poverty. The federal government sent out stimulus checks earlier this year as part of the CARES Act. New relief could be significant, especially for low-income individuals who qualified for the original one-time payments. Authorities say tens of thousands of prison and jail inmates, including convicted serial killers and well-known inmates like Scott Peterson, tried to carry out what prosecutors describe as possibly the largest fraud scheme in California history. The Sacramento County District Attorney says the alleged crimes center on pandemic unemployment benefits. Between March and August, inmates housed in every California prison and in jails all across the state allegedly filed 35,000 claims totaling $140 million in benefits. Parents have long worried about the influence of TV commercials on their kids. Well, now experts say they should be concerned about YouTube. A recent study in the journal Pediatrics warns parents that kid influencers on the social media channel are endorsing junk food. The authors say 9 out of 10 videos by top child celebrities and influencers featured unhealthy foods, and nearly 1 in 3 videos promoted a fast food chain, which in turn can lead to unhealthy habits and childhood obesity. The study identified product placement and promotion that often exceeded what is seen on traditional network or cable TV for kids. In response, pediatricians say parents should be made more aware of the issue, and they say the FTC should strengthen regulations on product placement on YouTube videos targeting young children. Looking to make a move? Well, the city of Tulsa, Oklahoma will pay you $10,000 to move there for a year. The Sooner State is inviting people who are working virtually to make the move as part of the Tulsa Remote Program, which began in 2018. The program is looking to fill 250 spots. Applicants must be at least 18 years old, have full-time remote employment outside the state of Oklahoma, and be able to relocate within the next 6 months. The program's initiative is funded by the George Kaiser Family Foundation, and they hope to bring a diverse group of professionals to Tulsa, and that some of them will stay more than a year. Preliminary data from the Missouri Department of Conservation show that deer hunters in Missouri harvested more than 176,000 deer during the portion of firearms deer season. Of the deer harvested, 95,654 were antlered bucks, 16,045 were button bucks, and 64,905 were does. Those numbers are down a bit from last year, but the Department of Conservation says they're impressive given some unforgiving weather to start the season. A final check on our upcoming weather is next. Take time now to honor a local veteran, Corporal Charles Jenny. The Columbus, Kansas native served in the U.S. Army, and we are proud to salute Corporal Charles Jenny. He's tonight's four-state hero. Paleontologists are using analyzation used on trees to study dinosaur bones to bring new insights on how they grew and aged. Turns out, like tree trunks, dinosaur bones have rings that tell scientists a great deal about how fast they grew and how long they lived. For instance, the predator T-Rex grew very quickly, gaining more than 35 pounds a week, as many of us will this week. A new study published yesterday in the Proceedings of the Royal Society examined the bones of 11 different dinosaurs. While T-Rex showed a growth spurt, some of the giant creatures grew very slowly, lived a comparatively long time. Let's check back with Doug Heddy. Doug.
All right, Dow, it looks like we're going to have to deal with the fog throughout the overnight hours tonight, so watch out for that. Temperatures sitting right around freezing. Tomorrow's great. Thanksgiving, 64, partly sunny skies. May get a sprinkle in here by late tomorrow night into Friday with cooler temperatures working in, then some rain chances by early Sunday.
Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Let's take care of ourselves and each other.